Good evening and welcome to the way late, but better never version of the Fightins Final here on the It's a Rap Sports Network with your boy Matty B. Finally on the call. Phillies 6-5 winners. That's right. This is last night's post-game show. All right. So told you way late, but I'm here. Things went down last night, and I'll get to all the logistical situation of why I didn't go on the air last night, but I'm here now. Just 18 hours or so after the game. It's before the next game, so it still counts as a post-game show, but probably last to the party to report the news. If you missed it, maybe you did. Maybe you've been waiting for me to tell you about it, but I'm here to tell you the Phillies 6-5 winners in extra innings and have repeated as National League Eastern Division champions. Second time in a row that they've done that. They did it in extra innings. It wasn't pretty per se. It was a frustrating game, but a game that once again kind of characterized what the Phillies have been over the past, 3 weeks now. A very gutsy, fighty, never give up type team, which is the signs you want to see at this stage of the season, especially as you're trying to clinch a playoff spot. And they were able to battle their way back twice last night, coughing up the lead. I mean, going down early, coming back, taking the lead, giving up the lead, and then finally winning it out in extra innings. And they get the win, celebrate the NL East title. And now we get our sights set for a potential number one overall seed, or we sit back and enjoy being the number two and try to, look at it that way. But we'll get into all that later on. But tonight we're going to break down this game as well. As we start a pretty busy day on the network. The Fightins Final will be on later tonight at its normal time with Steve Fuentes at the helm. And then I will be back at 10 o'clock tonight to do the final word. So we're back. We're back on the air after some technical difficulties. Well, not really technical difficulties, but again, I'll tell you what happened here in a second. Joe Hale says it was a great victory. It showed it was a character win. Again, it was something that we've been seeing a lot lately, and it's a good thing. I'm not necessarily sold yet on the brand of baseball, but I am sold on the fact that this team seems to really be gaining a lot of confidence in their abilities and gaining a lot of confidence in battling and not giving up. And that's that was a problem earlier in the season. You could see kind of the life get sucked out of this team, and it became very robotic and mechanical, or that they weren't going to come back. But lately, it hasn't been that way. And that's a very positive thing to see, especially heading into the playoffs. Ricky, how are you tonight? What's going on? And a good comeback win. Yeah. So as I said, I was supposed to come on last night, and that was what the plan was. But as I'm sitting here watching the game, and I'm preparing to go on, and I was all ready to go on. Bottom of the ninth, Yohan Duran getting ready to wrap it up. Then he gives up the home run, the Pagas, and I'm like, are you kidding me? It's 12:30 in the goddamn a.m., man. I got to get up. I'm working a day job this week, so I have to actually wake up in the morning. So I was like, you know what? The hell with this. I'll just, pray to God they don't win this game so I don't miss the actual NL East clinching moment, and I'll come back on tonight. And of course, they were able to come back, and I looked pretty foolish, but I was tired last night. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was a rough night trying to stay up that late, and I just I don't have extra innings in me tonight. So, but I'm here now, so I get a mulligan because I'm in charge here, so I can do what I want, but. Phillies do find a way to win 6-5. And let's get into this game. Phillies finished the night with 6 runs on 5 hits. I mean, just 5 hits, and they were able to maximize those 5 hits. And I'm going to get into why I don't think, this sign to me is not a good one. I honestly don't like this brand of baseball. I don't like winning this way. I honestly don't, because it's too reliant on their old ways. The Dodgers put 5 runs on 9 hits, no errors. Offensive standouts for the Phillies on this game. I mean, Weston Wilson, I guess you could give him sort of the nod there with the multiple RBI night on the homer. Bryce hit himself a home run that last night. Kyle Schwarber, his 53rd of the season last night. I guess those are your offensive standouts. Kemp got into the act with a hit and also got on base twice. I mean, it was pretty spread out offensively, and it was, again, 5 hits. They made them count with the use of the home run. And again, I am not that's a bad sign to me. I'm sorry. I don't like that. I don't like them being completely reliant on hitting home runs. It's a recipe for disaster with this baseball team. And we've seen it in the past. This team is much more lethal when they're able to mix it in and out with small ball and long ball, get runners into scoring position, and I actually score those runners. They were 1 for 4 tonight with runners in scoring position. So they only had 4 runners in scoring position all night long. They were able to get one of them in. But I don't like it. I don't like the use of the long ball to be solely reliant for your offense, and that's a I'm sorry, it's a bad sign for me. I don't like it, and it worries me. For the Dodgers, Ohtani with the hit had himself got on base 3 times with a hit and 2 walks. Mookie Betts continues to be the him and Freddie Freeman just obviously terrible Philly killers. Betts on the night 1 for 3 with the homer there, the 3 RBIs. Freeman on the night was 1 for 4. Muncy was 1 for 5, but he also had a home run. The Dodgers hit 3 home runs as well. So Ranger Suarez didn't have himself a great night, but it was effective. It was one of those games. Pagas, of course, with the big home run late. He had himself a 3 for 4 night as the Phillies couldn't keep him off the base pads all night long, to include that game-tying home run in the bottom of the 9th. Ranger on the night, 6 hits or 6 innings. God, 7 hits, 3 runs. They were all earned, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and give up a homer. Pitched through 88 pitches in those 6 innings. You're not going to tell me that's good. Kerkering, Strahm, Duran, and Robertson all kind of mixed and matched, dinked and dunked, and David Robertson comes in and gets the save in the 10th inning. So Duran blows the save, gives up his first home run as a Philly. The early returns on Duran were, of course, very dominant, but it's somewhat leveled out since he's been pitching here. There's been some moments where he's very hittable, like the Pagas home run was a sweeper, I guess. I don't know if it was a break. I don't know. It didn't look like a breaking ball. It really didn't have much break to it, but it was a sweeper, I guess. The old like what splitter, I guess. And that thing just hung the hell up right over the middle of the plate, and Pagas did not miss it. He jacked the hell out of that thing, and I don't know why he's throwing off speed or why he's dinking and dunking. I mean, I get it. People are looking for the power, but 103 miles an hour is 103 miles an hour. You're going to hit a home run off of that, then, hey, I don't know what to say other than I gave you my best and you beat me. But why they're dinking and dunking around with him throwing off-speed stuff, I'll never know. But they took advantage of it, and they were able to get on top of him as Duran blows the save. Gets the win, though, as he backs into that. But David Robertson comes on and pitches a very good 10th inning to get the save. Banda, Sheehan, Dreyer, who gets Vesla, Scott, and Turnin, who got the loss, all pitch for the Dodgers in a losing effort. Schwarber would get the Phillies on the board in the top of the first inning, his 53rd home run of the year. He is, 5 away from tying Ryan Howard for the single most home runs in a season, and then 7 away from the elusive 60. I don't know if he's got it. I mean, we're into a certain part of the season, and we'll get to this here in a second. I don't think either. I like to see that either record could be touched, but I don't think he's going to get either record at this point. Then Betts would get the Dodgers back in this thing in the bottom of the 3rd with the sac fly to tie it at 1. Max Muncy would put the Dodgers ahead in the 5th with a homer. Betts would follow that up with the sac fly to give the Dodgers a 3-1 lead coming out of that 5th inning. Then Stott would get the Phillies back in this thing by knocking in Kemp to make it 3-2. Then Weston Wilson with a 2-run shot to make it 4-3 Phillies. Mookie Betts, though, in the 7th would answer right back with the leadoff home run or the solo shot, making it 4-4. Then Bryce Harper would answer right back, too, in the 8th with his 27th home run of the year, making it 5-4. And then Pagas would tie it up in the bottom of the 9th. And then JT would sack in Bader to make it 6-5. And that's how the Phillies would hold on for the win. Their NL East clinching win, 6-5 over the Dodgers. Phillies left 6 on base and were 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position. They also stole 3 bases, which is pretty cool. on the night. So pretty nice for that. They stole 2 bases. Sorry. Phillies pitching, though. Back to the pitching real quick. Gave up 5 walks on the night. That's not good. 5 walks. They struck out 11. Dodgers pitching gave up 6 walks, but they also struck out 11. And each team gave up 3 home runs in the process. And that's how you get 6-5. And that's how you get back-to-back NL East Division championships. And now the Phillies could set their sights on. And this is going to be an interesting game tonight. I know a lot of people might not be tuned into this, especially the fact that it's late night out west. But you got a pitching matchup tonight. I believe it's the same one. Let me go see if they still have the same one from the other day. I wouldn't imagine they switched it, but Chris Sanchez going for the Phillies tonight. Or maybe they have switched. Let me take a look. Yep, Sanchez is going, and Shohei Ohtani is pitching tonight for the Dodgers. There you go, man. Ohtani's back to pitching. He was playing DH last night. Now he's back out there pitching tonight. Definitely one of the best players in this game if he can go out and do stuff like that. And, of course, coming off of Tommy John to boot. So this might be worth the late-night watch, Sanchez and Ohtani. Anytime you get to watch Shohei Ohtani pitch, to me, it's pretty cool. So I may be I'll be tuning in, watching a little bit of that game. The celebration is on now. Okay. When you came back on, you can open up the phone lines. I will open up the phone lines tonight on the final word, Joe. I promise. We'll talk that. And we'll talk then. The celebration is on now. So Joe Hale brings up a point that I'm sure we'll belittle and belittle and talk to death from now until the start of the playoffs. What now for the Phillies? What do you do? Are you now setting your sights for that number 1 overall seed in the National League, or do you sit back and just accept the fate, rest some people, rotate some people in and out that lineup, get them as healthy and ready as possible? Or is your foot completely down on the gas pedal, trying to win as many games as you possibly can between now and the end of the season? You got 11 games left, I believe, right? 11? Is that where we're at? 90 and 61. 10 games. No. What's the record? They're 90 and 61. Yeah, we got 11 games left. What do you do? And 11 games is a lot of time. That's a lot of baseball to play, your bench. It's a lot of time. And again, back in the days when you could expand that roster out to 40, you could easily justify that. You can bring in a lot of substitutions, but now you only got 28 to play with. What do you do, man? What do you do with that? And are the Phillies the kind of team that needs to have 11 days off on top of a bye week that they're going to get regardless if they're the first or the second seed? So you already know you got a bye week coming. You're going to have a week off in between the wild card and the NLDS. You're going to have a week off. So what do you do in the interim? Do you play these next 11 games like they mean something, or do you treat these next 11 games, or do you battle for that number 1 overall seed in the NL, or do you take it easy on some of these guys? Listen, Bryce Harper is not right, and I don't know what if you guys have seen this or if you're aware of this. And maybe it is physical with Bryce. Something doesn't look right about him. Hasn't looked that way all season. Bat speed to me seems to be a bit down. Now he is constantly up there trying to hack away for a home run, and that's not good. He doesn't seem to want to be able to conserve his swings and actually drive the ball somewhere else but out of the park. But he just doesn't look right, and he hasn't looked right all season. Is this an opportunity to cycle Bryce out of that lineup and try to get him healthy? Maybe get him in the cage a little bit more, slow him down. I mean, God forbid you go these next 11 games and somebody does get hurt. You know what I'm saying? Somebody gets hit by a pitch, breaks a finger, breaks a hand. And that could always happen. And then we're like, well, what were we doing out there anyway? We already had clinched. So a lot of questions that Rob Thompson is going to have to answer starting tonight against the Dodgers. What do you do with this baseball team over the next 11 games or 10 games, whatever it is? They're at 11. It's 162 games, right? Yeah, they're at 151. Next 11 games. And so it's going to be an interesting question. And I'm sure we will belabor that point between now and the start of the playoffs. Phillies won the division. Yeah. Yep. 13th time, I think, in franchise hit 13 times. that the Phillies have won the division in 143 years of existence. Oh my God, that's terrible. When I was researching that, I was like, because I got to be able to present facts and talk about them, and I have it written down somewhere. When I saw it was only 13 times in 143 years they won their division. It's terrible. And you're asking why I'm so freaking jaded? The franchise has been around for close to 150 years, and we've only won 13 divisional titles, and 2 world championships along the way. Yeah, that's why I'm so goddamn jaded. 13th division title in franchise history, back to back for the first time since 2010, 2011. Feeling the vibes. There was a little dancing going on down there in the dugout. I didn't see Garrett Stubbs wearing his beer case hat. Maybe somebody has that footage they can share with me. I'd love to see it. But Rob Thompson giving that speech, thanking all the players that helped them out, to include Jose Alvarado and his 80-game suspension, and Jordan 13.50 ERA Romano, thanking them by name. Woo! Hey, talk about keeping the peace. But it's a great thing, and in the history of this program, we're 4 years old. The Fighting's Final. It's our 4th season doing this. And I've never experienced a season with this show that we have not made the playoffs. And there's something to that, man. And I want to thank the Phillies for that. I came on this thing just at the right damn time. 22 was our first season, and we ran to the World Series. And then it's been playoffs every year since. So once again, we'll be back for an October of memories here on the Fighting's Final. A little bit of a programming note for the postgame show in October. It will not be one person doing postgames. You'll be dealing with 2. So it'll be a partnership, a combination of 2 hosts every game in the playoffs. Either me or Al, me or Mike, me or Pat, me or Steve and Mike, you know the drill. But it won't be a solo joint effort. It'll be a combination. That's how we do the postseason on any of these programs. You'll see it when we do if we ever make the playoffs for the Flyers, you'll see it in the ice, and then of course with the Eagles. So that's coming to a internet Wi-Fi channel near you very soon. When we get into the playoffs, the Fighting's Final will go to a 2-man system as we have an opportunity to work together after a long season of being apart. So it's one of our gifts that we give ourselves. Honestly, I want that 1 seed because they can play either the Cubs or Padres instead of the Dodgers or Mets. So Eagles fans looking at it as more of a strategical thing. Eagles fan, I don't know if I know you've been on here before, and I've seen you on here, but I attack this from a different standpoint. I don't run and cower away, and I'm not saying that you're saying that, but I don't give a rat's rear who it is. You know what? You got to play the best to be the best. And again, I'm not telling the Dodgers. Well, in this case, the Dodgers they're defending world champions. So if the road to the World Series is through Los Angeles, and so be it. Let's play the Dodgers. If the road towards the World Series is through Citi Field, so be it. I am not going to run away from the Mets. I'm not going to run away from Citi Field. That's a loser attitude. I don't want to go to Citi Field, or I don't want to play the Mets. Why? Why not? Because you're afraid? No, go in there and handle your business against an inferior team. And that's what the Mets are. They're inferior to the Phillies. They've always been. This season, they've been inferior to the Phillies. For whatever reason, they can't win the Citi Field. I don't know the reason. But that's an excuse. Give them to me. I don't care who it is. Let's just get to the World Series, because you're not going to have the opportunity to, say that in the World Series when you're playing the Tigers or your Yankees or somebody like that maybe you haven't had success over or against. So I'm looking at this more from a strategic standpoint, not an opponent standpoint. Obviously, the only thing that number 1 overall seed guarantees you throughout the playoffs is of course, home field advantage. And there is something to home field advantage, even though lately, and I mean as lately as last season, it didn't, the CBP is sort of, I don't know, man, some of the polish has come off of that October apple a little bit, but knowing that you have a game 6 and a game 7, especially in the NLCS at home, that does wonders. That's another advantage that you can exploit. So I'm looking at the number 1 seed solely from a home field advantage standpoint. But the question is that advantage that important when you have an opportunity now to sit some of your players and get some instant healing going on to prepare for what really we've been waiting for all season, and that's the playoffs. Because again, they could play on the side of Mars, and I don't care. If they're a World Series competitive team, if they're a World Series contending team, they should go and play and win anywhere. So I'm not going to, it doesn't really matter to me. But does the number 1 overall seed for home field advantage throughout matter that much to where you put the pedal to the metal all the way to the floor and try to push and maybe potentially get somebody hurt? And Rob Thompson has shown in the past that he doesn't necessarily look at things like that, right? I mean, I say this a lot heading into series where I believe that are playoff-like, that Rob needs to attack them like playoff-like series, and he never does. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what Rob Thompson does with these next 11 games. Jose says Rafael Lantigua just got called up. By who? By the Phillies? Who's Rafael Lantigua? Let me see who that is. Rafael Lantigua. Oh, yeah, by the Phillies. Oh, so okay. So that's why because they're putting Sosa on. Damn, I didn't see that. They're putting Sosa on the DL, and they're bringing up Rafael Lantigua, obviously a little bit of a utility guy coming to us from the Toronto Blue Jays organization. We acquired him back in December. And he's been with the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. A little brief on him. 396 at-bats this year, but with the Pigs, 82 runs, 92 hits, 7 homers, 56 RBIs, 17 stolen bases, batted a healthy 232 in AAA with a 359 OBP and a 692 OPS. Okay. Obviously just a body. There you go. Rafael Lantigua is on his way to the Phillies. I don't remember seeing Rafael's name on any of my Down on the Phillies farm segments this year. Batting 232. I can see why, but he's on his way to the Phillies. All right, so let's go to the Broad Street bottom line. Again, we're doing post-game show from last night, a mere 18 hours later, but we're still doing it. So let's go to the Broad Street bottom line. All right, my Broad Street bottom line from this game tonight. Yes, they clinched the NL East. Yes, it's over. They've done it with 11 games left. Second straight NL East division title. 13th overall in franchise history. But I am not digging the way they did it. That's right. I am not digging it. I'm not digging scoring all the runs via the home run, or all but one. And that was the one they scored in extra innings. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's bad habits to this team. I need to see more creativity. I need to see more fundamental baseball on scoring runs, because this team has a tendency to get very tunnel visioned when it comes to hitting home runs. It's evident every time Bryce Harper steps up at the plate, and it seems to get more rampant as we go through these seasons. Nick Castellanos has got big eyes at times, or most of the time. I want to see more of a combination of getting runners on, getting them over, and then getting them in via the sac fly, the ground out, a single, CNI double, something more than just hitting home runs, because we've seen this bugaboo hit us before. We've seen as the home runs sort of dry up and that all the offense is going to be a home run or nothing. Pitchers get keyed off to that, and they start throwing things in the ground, and the Phillies keep swinging at them. It's not good. It's not. And I am going to sit here and critique a win, because I need to see more creativity from this offense when it comes to their offensive approach. And hitting home runs, though fun, sexy, and entertaining, you're not going to be able to home run your way to a World Series championship. It just doesn't work like that in 2025. And they're going to have to find ways to get runners in and runners on. 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position tonight. Only 4 runners made it in the scoring position tonight, and they only got 1 of them in. And I believe that's the one from probably, and I don't know. No, they don't count the stuff in extra innings, but it had to be the Stott play, the Kemp score when Kemp was when Stott knocked him in. But that's not good, man. I need to see more from this offense. Yeah, you're going to win games that way, absolutely. But are you going to win championships? And I haven't seen anybody do that since the 1927 Yankees. And unfortunately, I wasn't there to see it personally, but I've heard and I've watched a lot of the movie tone newsreels to see that. But I got to see more from this offense than just hitting home runs. I think they got 193 home runs on the season. They've hit well over 100 in the second half of the season. The power has returned. It wasn't there in the first half. I think 87 home runs they hit in the first half, but they've been hitting them a lot in the second half. But I need more fundamental baseball in terms of scoring runs. So my Broad Street bottom line is a win they won, they clinched, they fought back. But I got to see more diversity from this offense, man. And it's going to be something that haunts this team until they exercise it. And hopefully they can in the postseason, because they cannot approach the postseason swinging for the fences at every time. Have we not learned our lessons from the Diamondback series? So that was the Broad Street Bottom Line. And that's brought to you by the Fighting Final here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. And here you go. Here is your lineup for the rest of the series. Steve Fuentes will have you tonight upon completion of the game, I think. I don't, Steve hasn't communicated to me that he will not be able to come on later tonight. I'm sure he will. So he'll be taking you late night tonight, and barring anything unseen, I got you tomorrow night into Thursday morning. So we're back on schedule. We'll get back on track. I a little hiccup last night. I'll admit I was too tired, and I was a little pissed off that Duran could not hold on to that damn lead. And I was like, I'm going to bed, man. Screw this. But tonight we'll be back on as scheduled on the Fighting Final. And there's your lineup. And then here's your lineup on the It's a Wrap Sports Network for the rest of this week. Again, tonight you got some Phillies Dodgers postgame, and then the final word with me as well at 10 o'clock. So I'll be coming on before the postgame show. Tomorrow you got props, locks, and parlays, and a little bit more Phillies Dodgers. No baseball on Thursday night, but you are going to have your fill of Eagles and me. You got the Birds Blast of Kyle Quinn at 7, the Attacking Third at 9, and then the final word with me at 10. The wrapping around on Friday night, right before Phillies Diamondbacks post game, and then Saturday you got Phillies D-backs as well. So there's your lineup for the rest of this week on the network as we get you ready for absolutely Phillies playoff baseball. To be fair, I love the double steal by Brader and Harper after Kyle made the first out in the 10th. Yeah, no, they found a way to win. I got you. It was I honestly thought when that home run, when Pagas hit that home run, I thought they were going to lose. I honestly didn't think they were going to win that game. But again, it goes back to what I said in the beginning there, MP. There is one thing that's definitely changed about this team, especially over the past 3 weeks. And I will say this. There's a different attitude. It seems like they're approaching these games a little bit more with a different fight that they hadn't had at a lot of stretches throughout the season. And that is evident by them battling back, and then getting a little bit more creative on the base pads. So, they don't count any of those stats towards like gameplay, but it was good to see it. But I'd like to see it more during the game, but yeah, no, it was very good to see that. Bryce's homer in the 8th felt like a huge moment for him. I don't know. I disagree, MP. I honestly do. Bryce, there's something wrong with Bryce Harper, and I don't know if it's physical. I don't know if it's father time. I don't know if it's a combination of father time and physicality. There's something not right with Bryce Harper. He is he's about a millisecond too slow on a lot of his stuff offensively. 27 home runs, you can't shake a stick at that. But still, that's not what he's getting paid $300 million over the next 13 years to do. Hit 27 home runs? No, that's not what we brought him here to do. There's something not right about Bryce Harper. And call me what you want to call me, but as well as I do, there's the eye test. There's just something not right about him. And, maybe he gets this opportunity over the next 11 games, take it a little easy. Maybe it is that dealing with some nagging injuries. but he doesn't look right at the plate. He hasn't looked right at the plate all season, and to be fairly honest with you. But I don't know if it's going to be a huge moment for him. But and I'd rather see Bryce Harper hit a double. Honestly, come on. That's all he wants to do is hit home runs, man. It's all he does is catch touchdown passes. God damn it. But all right. Are we going to talk scores? Yeah, let's. We're going to do scores from last night. I don't know. They still even up here. Yeah, let's go through the scoreboard, I guess. Let's go round the bases from last night. Let's do this the right way. Let's go round the bases from your games last night. These games are all final, of course. I don't think there's anybody still playing from last night. 4-0 Cubs over the Pirates. It was 11-3 Braves over the Nationals. The Blue Jays 2-1 winners over the Rays. Orioles 4-1 over the White Sox. It was 7-0 Twins over the Yankees. 11-6 Reds all over the Cardinals. 6-3 Astros beat the Rangers in the Battle of Texas. And it was 8-1 Diamondbacks over the Giants. And that was your scoreboard from last night. Your updated standings, of course, the Phillies and the Brewers have clinched a playoff seed. They're the only two teams in all of Major League Baseball to clinch the playoffs. Phillies, of course, the only team so far to have clinched the division. So every division is still sort of up for grabs right now, but the NL East. So the Phillies and Brewers are the only two who have clinched playoff berths, and the Phillies have clinched their division. They are currently, the Brewers are 5 games ahead of the Cubs in the NL Central, and out there in the West, a dogfight between the Dodgers and Padres, which will probably come right down to the end. Los Angeles currently with a 2-game lead over the Padres heading into tonight's action. Your wild card standings from around, I didn't talk about the American League. Yeah, to hell with it. Who cares? Anyway, your wild card in the American League right now is the Yankees, Red Sox, and Astros, with the Indians 3 games off the pace and the Rangers 3 games off the pace. Everyone out, you got the Royals 6.5. You got the Rays at 8.5. They're pretty much dead. In the National League, that's where the real race is. Of course, it's the Cubs, Padres, and Mets, but the Diamondbacks just 1.5 games back of the Mets. The Reds 2 games back. The Giants 2 games back, and the Cardinals from the distance of 4.5 games. So still very doable with 11 to go, but they're running out of time. But it's definitely a tight race in the National League. It's your guess as good as mine who will be that wild card team. So there's your look around the standings. You look around Major League Baseball scores from last night, and I've done everything I'm supposed to on this postgame show. So I meant his reaction to the home run felt like it could be a confidence. But again, MP, I hate to be like this, man, but does Bryce Harper need confidence built? I mean, the guy's been playing Major League Baseball since 2012. He's tasted the heights of Major League Baseball. I mean, why do we got to talk about Bryce Harper's confidence? I mean, he's getting paid a lot of money to do something he does pretty well. I don't give a damn. His confidence should be unrattled at this point. There should be no confidence. The man walks around with yellow sneakers on, right? He's got a Philly Fanatic socks, a Philly Fanatic headband. Attaboy written on his cleats. Does that look like a guy that needs confidence built? Oh, man, come on. I'm not buying that. All right. I'm not buying that at all. I'm not. I've never been a Bryce Harper guy. I think he's a lot of flash and pizzazz. And he comes up short, right? And especially since he's been here. So I don't want to hear about his confidence, man. All right. No, that ship has sailed when he left junior college and got drafted in the MLB. All right. I don't need to hear about his damn confidence. I need to hear about him hitting and earning that $300 million. I mean, I don't know. We're talking about a 13-year veteran here, not somebody who just came up from AAA last week. So I'm not buying that, man. If I was Rob, I'd give him a night off. And that's an interesting question, and it's going to be fun to see because you got the Dodgers, you got the Diamondbacks, the Marlins, and Twins. That's the remaining matchups that the Phillies have in 2025. Matter of fact, the Phillies have played everybody in Major League Baseball this season except the Twins, and they'll play them in the final weekend of the year. That's definitely how you want to wrap up the season against the Minnesota Twins. Who builds the schedule? Why the hell are the Phillies playing the Twins to wrap up the season? That's just stupid. But the Phillies will battle the Twins at the end, and they'll play the Marlins before that, and then the Diamondbacks before that, right after this. And that's how the season will end. So you got basically, 4 more games on the road, and then you come home for the final 6. So, how important is that number 1 overall seed to Rob Thompson? How important is that number 1 overall seed to you guys? I say it's important for one reason and one reason only, and that's home field advantage. But how important is that when you have an opportunity to rest your club? You have an opportunity to rest your arms. You have an opportunity to rest everybody, really. You can cycle people in and out of the lineup, even though you only have 28 to work with. You can still give key people key time off. But does that work well for this team as well? Because we've seen that not work well at all. When this team goes cold, they go cold, and it's very frustrating. So what do you do? And you got key members on the team currently on the IL as it is right now. So are they getting the rest as we speak? So it's interesting how they're going to do this as we come down the stretch. Mets are up 5-0 in the second inning as we are on to tonight's action, by the way. Mets ain't done. I still think the Mets make the playoffs. I still do. Yeah, I still think they make the playoffs. So, but this is not about the Mets tonight. It's about the 2025 National League East champion Philadelphia Phillies. Clinched, yes, they did. Second year in a row, we are the divisional champions. Starting our own little division dynasty now. And they will now sit back and we'll see. We'll see what they want to do with that number 1 overall seed. If that's what their aim is, or if they're going to sort of kind of coast their way into the playoffs. We'll see. I'm not a fan of Preston Wilson playing second base. Preston Wilson, yeah. Is it Weston Wilson or Preston Wilson? I think it's Weston Wilson, Kaepernick. But I know what you're talking about, and I agree. I'm not a fan of Bryson Stott playing shortstop either. It's not working for me. I'm telling you, Otto Kemp needs to stay on this roster when we go in the postseason. Weston Wilson needs to go back down to the minors, and Otto Kemp needs to stay on this roster for the postseason. He has earned it. He has absolutely earned it, and he's a little bit more versatile than Wilson, and I think he provides a little bit more offense to him. And that's a player that I think should play, regardless if Bohm comes back or not, should play every game between now and the end of the season, is Otto Kemp. I think you need to give him as many at-bats as you can. You need to get as much of a look at him as you can heading into the postseason and to make that determination if he does belong on the postseason roster. But I think he's earned his way on. Just not a big fan of Weston Wilson either. Phillies don't win last night without dubs. What the hell's dub? And they don't win. They don't win last night without anybody's home runs, and that's what scares me. MP, that's what scares me. I'm not a fan of winning baseball games via the home run, especially with this team. Right? I got it. They can hit home runs. They got 193 on the season. Yeah, it's great. But those home runs seem to disappear come October. Those crisp fall nights, the ball doesn't seem to travel out the damn ballpark. I need to see more balls kind of getting in between fielders, getting into the gaps, into the alleys, going down the line, fly balls, sac flies. I need to see more of that. You got to mix that in. Yes, of course, I'm not going to scoff at a home run, but when like 99% of your offense comes via the home run, just not really feeling that, man. I'm not. And the Phillies are way too reliant on the home run, and they get into that mindset of just hitting home runs. And I need to see more from a psychological standpoint, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't want the Phillies to get up there and, okay, we got to hit a home run tonight. I agree with you on Otter Kemp. He's definitely earned a spot. I think so. Especially over these past 3 weeks, since being pressed back into action when Bohm went down, he's actually been hitting. He's been on a tear, absolutely tear, and he's earned his way up here. He had a great AAA season, earned his way up here the first time, and you got to keep him on the roster. You got to do it. Did you give him is that his actual nickname, or did you give that to him? What are we doing? What are we doing, man? Phillies won a ton of games on the last home stand without the. Absolutely. I'm not. Again, I didn't say they can't do it. I am saying though, sometimes they're hesitant to do it. And there's a lot of games that I can go back and circle from this year that they were hitting home runs, and that's how they were winning. So we can argue it all day long. When you're looking at the runners with scoring position, batting averages, down to the 250s. They only had 4 runners in scoring position all night last night. I mean, come on, we gotta do better than that. We gotta get people on base, and we got to get them in. And you got to be able to get runners in without the home run. Again, I don't know if you guys are really kind of understanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying that that's not a viable way to score runs. But psychologically for this baseball team, they get into this thing where it's home run or bust. And you can see it when they're at the plate. And if you don't know what I mean, go up there on the old YouTube machine and look at Game 6 and Game 7 from the 2023 NLCS. And you'll see what I mean when they get up there with the approach that I'm going to win this game with the swing of the bat in the 3rd inning. Right? There was no strategic approach to going out and taking what the pitcher gave me, moving a runner along, scraping out 1 run. No, I'm going up there in the 3rd inning, looking to win this bad boy in the 3rd inning. And that's what I want to stay away from, because they do it a lot. And yes, Bryce Harper is criminal number 1 there. Castellanos is a close second. When they get that wild eye look in their eye, man, you know what I'm up here to do. And then the pitcher throws a 60-mile-an-hour breaking ball in the ground, and they're swinging out of their shoes. That's what I'm talking about. It's the mentality of the approach that they go up to their plate wanting to hit home runs. Going up, wanting to hit a home run versus going up and taking what the pitcher gives you is two totally different plate approaches in baseball. Two totally different plate approaches. And I see too much from this team, that wild eye look like it's the bottom of the 2nd, and I'm winning this bad boy right here. And you can't have that mentality in the postseason. I said this the other night on my I don't know if it was my show, for was on the postgame. We hang on every single pitch in the postseason. Every single pitch is important. Every swing of the bat is important. Every at bat is important in the postseason. You no longer can talk away. Yeah, they left them loaded. Yeah, whatever. We'll get them the next inning. That doesn't work like that in the playoffs. And you guys know what I mean. When we're watching the playoffs, half of us don't even sit down when we watch Phillies playoff baseball. And you're hanging on literally every pitch. And every pitch is important. And you got to go up there with that approach. You got to go up there thinking that way. You can't go up there thinking, I can leave the bases loaded here, trying to swing it for a grand slam in the 3rd inning. No big deal. We'll get it back later on. You can't have that approach in the playoffs. You got to take advantage of every single opportunity offensively that's presented to you. You got to make your own opportunities offensively as well. And I don't know if the Phillies have that ability. They have not demonstrated that ability through postseasons in the past. I don't know if they have that ability. And when they're going off against the Dodgers and they're scoring most of their runs off the home run, or against anybody, it doesn't really matter. It shows to me a lack of diversity, a lack of depth, and a lack of creativity with their offense. And it scares me, because when it comes to October and you have that mentality, I'm going for the fence or I'm going right back to the dugout and I'm going to leave them loaded. That you can't have that in the playoffs. You can't have that. Every pitch is goddamn important. And you know what I mean. So that's what I'm saying. It's more, I guess, of a psychological approach. They gotta change. Oh, yeah. Oh, you didn't make that's not your concept. Are you hanging out in the clubhouse? I wish we were able to say the same thing about Crawford right now that they were saying about Kemp. Crawford should have been given his shot. And that's going to be the biggest story, I guess, going into the offseason. Well, I don't think we have to actually look at a big story, and again, I've said this before, and a conspiracy theory about it all, about Dombrowski and wanting that Brandon Marsh trade to look good and work and not be the guy that got rid of Logan O'Hoppe and all that. I think there might have been something to that. They definitely wanted that to work, and they also wanted Yohan Rojas to work. And you also got to look at the fact that service time, and that's a big thing too, especially in the beginning of the season. But I think he hit that service time plateau like in June. I mean, he could have come up like in July 1st and still would have saved the year. But I think it was all about trying to make Brandon Marsh work. And again, up to this point, Marsh has sort of rebounded. What Marsh does in the postseason remains to be seen. Marsh should still be traded in the offseason. He should not be a starting outfielder next year on his baseball team because Crawford does need his opportunity because Crawford has earned it. He's earned that look, which he never got this year. And you're not going to be able to talk away him not getting the chance coming out of training camp in 26. Crawford's got to be part of this team in 26. So what you're going to do with Brandon Marsh, obviously you're looking at a platoon situation with Marsh in left and center field. But you can't keep Justin Crawford out of the conversation going forward, at least to start the season. Now, what happens with Crawford as he gets up here, we don't know, but you can't keep him in AAA next year. There's just no way that you can justify that. As much as we agree, MLB modern game is all but I do not agree with that. That's where you're wrong, and that's my issue. Is that I know a lot of people look at it that way, and the players are coached that way. That hitting launch velo and launch angle and all that. It's not. Well, it is, but I don't agree with it. Okay, it is, but I don't agree with it. I'm an old school guy, right? When I was coming up playing baseball, strikeouts mattered, and you were held accountable for striking out. And you lost playing time over that. You lost playing time for not putting the ball in play. I'm not saying not getting a hit or whatever, but you had to put the ball in play. And if not, you lost playing time. So, yes, in that aspect, you're correct. Baseball is looked at differently. But why it changed and the fact that it changed doesn't diminish small ball and its importance in baseball. You could win a World Series championship and not hit 200 home runs as a team for a season. You can. And the Phillies are so reliant on that aspect of, long ball, whatever you want to call it. And they don't care. I've heard Rob Thompson say multiple times, I don't care about RISP. I don't look at RISP. I don't care how many times we strike out a game. I don't look at that. And I believe him based on what I see, because I look at it. I look at it every freaking night and I bang my head against the wall. How you can justify a team that strikes out on average over 8 times a game. That would make old school baseball people roll over in their grave. Billy Martin's head would explode if he was a manager of a team like that. Pete Rose, God rest his soul, when he was alive, couldn't stand it. I agree with you. I don't like it, and I think it needs to change because, we're putting too much. They've put all the eggs in that one basket. And now you're seeing the kind of the results of that with a team like the Phillies. Give me a team that hits 120 home runs a year, but's got a 285 with batting average with runners in scoring position. That strikes out on average about 5 times a game. That walks on average about 3 times a game. I would trade that team. I would take that team versus this. Because this product is frustrating. This product is wishy-washy, up and down, in and out. You don't know what you're going to get. You can't set your watch by it. There's nothing logical about this baseball team. So if you give me a team that's batting with runners in scoring position about 285, strikes out about 5 times a game, walks about 3, hits about 120 home runs a year, I will take that in a heartbeat. And I'm telling you, that brand of baseball is a lot more exciting than the brand that we're seeing Major League Baseball wise. That's why my favorite playoffs to watch in sports is the MLB. Every pitch and every swing is a much watch and has the edge. Yeah, and it's funny that it like sort of degrades down into that. I shouldn't say degrade, but it goes from that 162 games. That's a long season, and I don't know many people, to include myself, that's hanging on every pitch. I mean, I watch a lot of baseball at multiple levels. Multiple leagues all over the place. Hell, I watch the Arizona Fall League. I watch the Mexican Winter League. I watch it all, right? I glued to college ball, Division I, Division II, Division III, JUCO, all of it. I watch perfect games for 18U, 16U. I watch a lot of baseball. But when the playoffs start major league wise, it's every pitch. Every pitch counts. And that's why I keep a stat tracker the way I do. I don't keep the sexy stats. I don't talk about OPS. I don't keep that. I keep batting average with runners in scoring position. I keep team strikeouts per game, team walks per game, team hits per game, left on base per game. That's the type of stuff in the playoffs that matters. That matters the most. I don't give a damn about your OPS or OBS in the playoffs. I care whether or not you're not leaving 9 runners on base per game. Because that's how championships are won in October, when every pitch matters. And every pitch matters to them no matter what, but to us, it really matters in the playoffs. And you're right, and that's what makes MLB baseball playoff-wise so good. One good thing is that Harp's wrist and back appear to be completely healed. No way he hits that high pitch. Yeah, I get it, but there's still something to me that doesn't look right about Harper, and it hasn't looked that way. And I haven't seen that and I haven't felt that way about Harper since Tommy John. There's something different about him, and I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. And maybe it's as easy as Father Time. Maybe he's just aging out. I don't know. But still, I can't I can't put my finger on it. Hockey still has the playoffs. Steve, I would love to agree with you, but I've forgotten. I've forgotten what that's like, honestly. I'll watch. Matter of fact, I didn't watch 1 second of the NHL playoffs last year. I didn't watch 1 second of the NHL playoffs the year before that. I can't get into it unless the Flyers are in it. Now, when the Flyers are in it, I get that's that same feel. Every shift, every faceoff, every shot, every pass, every offsides, every penalty means everything. I get what you mean, but I've forgotten what that feels like. It's been 5 years, man. I've forgotten what that feels like. Hoppy looks now to be a concussion prone, maybe not like Tojo, but looks like it. Again, it's not necessarily Hoppy, the player. It's the same, and I'm going to throw Eduardo Tait into this too. I don't like pilfering the minor leagues of anything, especially a high-rated prospect that Hoppy was as a catcher. I don't really like the Tait thing, but I'll take the Tait thing. That's working out well, but it's just of trading such a high. I think Hoppy at that time was I think he was the number 1 prospect in our system when they traded him, and you had JT wrapping up his career. I just don't like mortgaging the future that way against the player, against Brandon Marsh, who was under team control at that time as well. But it just didn't seem to work out. It wasn't working. It didn't seem fair at that time. It seemed like Hoppy was on a bigger curve, and of course he's got his entire career ahead of him behind the plate, which is a luxury for us these days. Bader saved Topper from having us have a serious conversation about why Crawford didn't get the call up at the post All-Star game next year. He needs the reps at the bank. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to replace somebody out in right field too. I mean, I don't know if Nick Castellanos is going to survive the winter. Outfield is still very much in flux, if you ask me, heading into next season. I know you're looking at Bader, you're looking at Crawford, Marsh, and then you're not looking at. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do out there. Are you moving Bader to right? Are you moving Marsh to right? You're not putting Crawford in right. So who's playing right field? And it ain't Harper. Again, we have officially an extra couple weeks to not talk about the offseason now that they clinched. Rinko looks to have matured enough for the outfield, at least for the 4th option now. Yeah, and I mentioned this, Steve, the other day during the Phillies. I don't think it was this week. I think it was the week before that. Gabe Raconis Jr. is really silently under the radar. Had himself a really good AAA season, and I make the slam dunk conversation that there's no way you can deprive I don't know how many times I'm going to refer to him as JP Crawford. I don't know how many times between now and the end of his career I'm going to call him JP. Justin Crawford. I know you can't deny Justin Crawford and his opportunity to play at this level and get him into the Phillies. You can't deny that. You got to give him a shot. Well, when is Raconis going to get some of that attention and love that he's really deserving? And he actually would fit that prototypical kind of Nick Castellanos right fielder. And he's got pop in his bat too. I don't know if the Phillies make a concerted effort or, take the plunge on him. Maybe not as you mentioned, a fourth option, perhaps a bench piece next year, but he needs to get another serious look, because he got a serious look last spring. He needs to get another serious look from the Phillies. Matter of fact, if my memory serves correct, he did not get sent back down to AAA until the very end of spring training last year. He stayed with the team all throughout spring training. He needs to get the same type of look this year heading into camp, because there needs to be a serious conversation about Gabe Raconis Jr. getting an opportunity as maybe a bench piece. You're absolutely right, 100%. 100%. I like him. I've always liked him, and I think he's going to grade out to be almost like a Nick Castellanos type player. You and me are on the same page regarding playing small ball, getting singles and doubles, and running the bases. I hate home run or bust. Yeah, you're not going to win a World Series that way, man. Matty B, to stop and make your Mount Rushmore Phillies manager now to 4 straight trips to the postseason. No. What the hell are we talking about? Who cares? How many World Series championships does he have there, Pat? How many times has he not yanked defeat out of the jaws of victory, or victory out of the jaws of whatever? That Mount Rushmore, my ass, man. Come on, dude. What are we doing? And I got it. It's the Phillies, and there's not much really to celebrate about this organization. I mentioned it earlier. 13 division championships now in 143 years. I mean, that's nothing to be singing home to. I get you there. But I am not. No, Rob Thompson is not. Rob Thompson's going to be an afterthought unless he wins a World Series. Come on, man. We're not going to celebrate Rob Thompson around here until he wins a World Series. Deservedly so. Rob Thompson has had the third. He has piloted the third best Phillies team in third best era of Phillies baseball in the history of the organization. The 77-83 group, the 08-11 group, and now this one, 22 through question mark. He has had the opportunity to, and the one thing that the other two eras have on Rob Thompson is at least they won a World Series in there somewhere, right? No. Listen, I don't care if it gets to the playoffs 1,000. Talk to the Atlanta Braves fans of the 1990s. Do you think they're, and I know they love Bobby Cox and they pat him on the back, but the man won one World Series and 14 straight division championships. One World Series championship to to speak of. All right. I would kill myself if I was a Braves fan in the 90s. That would suck. All right. 14 straight trips to the damn playoffs and you win one World Series. That's terrible. Now I get it. 4 times to the playoffs. Yeah. But if they don't win a World Series, if they don't finish the deal at least one time, because, there's some sour grapes in people's mouth about the 08-11 group saying there should have been more than one, and there should have been. They should have won in 09. Hell, they should have won in 11. 77-83 group, 78, they had the best record out of all those teams, and they fell in the playoffs to the Dodgers again. They should have won more than one. The 22 through question mark group hasn't won anything. 4 straight trips to the playoffs? Yeah, kiss my ass, man. Who cares? I want the commissioner's trophy. I want the big golden, whatever the pennant flags are on. I want that. Mount Rushmore managers. Get the hell out of here. By the way, who are the Mount Rushmore managers in this town? What, Charlie Manuel and friggin' Dallas Green? 1 World Series each? And again, I'm not blaming them personally. And the franchise they've only won 2, right? I mean, who are the Mount Rushmore? Who the hell are the greatest Phillies managers of all time? Charlie Manuel and Dallas Green? I'm just saying, man. That ain't much really there. 2 world championships. So no, Rob Thompson has not even done the minimal to qualify for that title. He's got to win a World Series, man. Second place trophies, kiss my ass. This pisses me off, man. We are so desperate. That doesn't piss me off. It just paints a perfect picture of a Philadelphia sports fan that I am proudly part of. We are so desperate for something. We're going to talk this when Rob Thompson has not won us jack squat. So we're putting up playoff resumes. I made the playoffs 4 times, or we came in second 3 times. We lost to the NLCS once. I mean, no. To answer your question, Pat, It's a very good question. No. No. I don't know, man. The Phillies appear to have done more station to station this season. They have. Listen, and I have not updated this, but I think they're batting around 260 with runners in scoring position this year, which is up from about 253 last year. There has been more pronounced periods of the season where I've seen station to station baseball, Steve. And there's been even more pronounced pockets throughout the season where I've seen the blend between the small ball and the long ball. Yes. And that's evident by the 13-0 games. And they've had like 3 games where they scored 13 or more runs. You know, that's been evident in those games, right? So, yeah, no, there has been more of an indication that they can do it this year. Whether or not they apply it come October remains to be the question that I think I have. I know I have, and I think everybody else out there has. We are well over an hour in the postgame show. Man, oh, crap. Kyle Tucker and Ryan. No, man, I'm not going out there and breaking the bank on Kyle Tucker. That ship has sailed. Should have been last year. Matty B, what's going on, Mike? What's going on, Ryan? No, Patty. ZB, no. Does Harrison Bader stay in the lineup in the postseason? I don't know. Why would he not? Why'd you bring him here? Yes, of course he does. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But great questions. Where does he play? Where does he play? No. I think the better question is Max Kepler stay in the lineup in the postseason. That's going to be interesting. What? Of course. But to your point, they still lack identity at times. They do. And it seems to be at the worst times. And it seems to be at the times that we have been waiting since March. I think the conversation way back in March from a lot of different platforms was even when they started the season, maybe April, maybe a month in, right? I think they were like maybe 500 at the time, like 8-8, whatever, 9-9, 10-10, whatever it was. And we started. I know I started. This team stinks. What are we doing here? We can't play small ball. They're batting 210 with runners scoring position, blah, blah, blah. And then the big counterpoint to that was everybody's so fixated on October, and we're sitting here in April. Just enjoy the regular season. And I say to that, what are you talking about? 143 years, 2 world championships. We've been to the playoffs for 3 straight years, and we failed and regressed every year. And you're telling me that we're getting blamed for not being supportive fans, or we're getting blamed for not trusting the team, and we're not. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride of the regular season. Listen, you don't got to tell me to enjoy the ride of baseball. All right, you don't got to tell me that. I love it, and I wish the season was 12 months long. I've been bittersweet with all the minor leagues shutting down over the last few weeks. I think we're down to 1 level right now. That's AAA, and that's over this week. So we are officially at the end of the season, but we're getting into the best part of the season, especially at the major league level, and that's the playoffs. But with this team and the way they've gone about their business over the course of the last 3 seasons, heading into this year, with all the heartbreak and the wasted potential and the not met expectation, to sit here and get a little antsy in April because they just don't seem right, and to be told just sit back and enjoy the ride is ridiculous for a team for an organization that's won 2 world championships in 143 years. Now, it's always been about getting to this point. And I know the biggest, staunchest homers out there will tell you, no, I've been enjoying and taking this in game by game, day by bull crap. No, you haven't. You've been looking the same way I've been looking, and that's till October, right? You've been looking at these games the same way I've been looking at these games and seeing how they might relate to October baseball. Yes, you have. Of course you have. If you haven't, then you shouldn't call yourself a Phillies fan, because that's what we do. Especially those of us who know what we're talking about, or know baseball, who can see the things. We're looking at how this stuff relates to October. Now, I'm not saying any of it does relate, but we're trying to see in April how it does relate to October. And yes, batting 220 with runners in scoring position does not relate well to October. Now they're batting close to 260 now, but back then they weren't. Leaving 9 runners on base per game doesn't relate well to October baseball. Striking out 9 times a game doesn't relate well. You get my point here. It's always should be geared towards what it's going to look like in October. If you're not looking at it like that, then you might as well call yourself a Rockies fan or a Pirates fan, because they don't have October baseball. But we do. And you don't get it every time. It's not something that's guaranteed. Hence, 143 years and 2 world championships and 13 division championships. So you're damn right, I'm a little antsy. I'm a little antsy for October. I'm a little antsy to go back and finish the deal. And I'm going to look at things. I'm going to look at, what's the old saying? Try to avoid the accident before you get to it. And that's what I do. And that's what a lot of us do. So sitting back there in April saying, and again, I understand the mindset that you're getting all crazy early on in the season for no reason because you got the whole thing ahead of you. I understand that. But it's always been about October baseball. And now here we are, officially going to be part of October baseball. And now it matters. Every pitch, every swing, every runner left on base, every runner left in scoring position. Every time Bryce Harper comes up to the plate trying to win the game in the 3rd inning and he swings at a pitch 75 feet beneath his feet, that's when this stuff really matters. And I haven't seen enough of the other stuff to still be a little concerned that the relatable stuff to October will not come back and bite this team on the ass. I haven't. Could be wrong. Obviously, we haven't played yet, but it's always been about October, and it will always be about October until October is no longer a reality. And that's why every Phillies fan should look at it. 2 world championships in 143 years. That is embarrassing. We are one of the oldest cities in Major League Baseball history, and we got 2 World Series championships. And those are in the modern era. I don't know what the hell was going on from 1883 and 1979. 2. In a stark contrast, the Yankees have 27. Okay? You see why I'm a little antsy about it? And you should be too. With all the flaws, the Phillies are 2 games behind the number 1 overall. Yeah, absolutely. They are. Enjoying the ride is fine as long as you don't use it as a substitute for a chip. And that's what we do. Hence the question if Rob Thompson belonged on the Mount Rushmore of Phillies managers, because he's gotten to the playoffs 4 straight years or 4 times. 40% of today's teams make the playoffs. 15% made it in 1980. And then there's a good question about that. Now, I'm a big proponent. And listen, I got to wrap the damn postgame. I was going to bleed into my actual show in 2 hours. I got to wrap this up. But I'm in favor of it like this. I love the fact that it's 6 teams making the playoffs per league. I really do. I hated that. I hated that only the division winners would get in. Growing up like that sucked because there were some years, don't forget, I became a Phillies fan. My first solid memory of my Phillies baseball life came on a sleepy, I don't know what, Tuesday night. I don't know what it was. My mother waking me up, telling me they beat the Royals. They did it. Let's go up to Frankfurt and Comet. I was 7 years old. That was my first cognizant memory of being a Phillies fan. Right? I mean, and then you got 2 years later, or they're in the playoff hunt in 81. They're in the playoff hunt in 82. They're back in the World Series in 83. I thought that's what it was like to be a Phillies fan. Every year you go to the playoffs. Then 84 happened, and 85, and 86, and 87, and then so on and so forth. So growing up in that old school baseball world with only 2 teams per league making the playoffs sucked, man, because there were some years, 86 is one of them. I thought the Phillies, even though they finished 20 games behind the Mets in first place in 86, I thought they were a decent team. And if there would have been a wild card instituted in 86, they might have made some noise in the playoffs. I like the expanded MLB playoff field because I grew up in the non-expanded MLB playoff field. And it was like back in the day in college football where you were, your team was AP number 1 in preseason and they lost in week 1 to App State. And there goes the season down the drain after 1 week, right? I like the expanded fields, man. I think it gives more diversity, more parity. It's better. It's fun, and it's a 6 month season. And a lot of times in my life as a Phillies fan, the damn thing was over in June, but you still got to hang on to the end. So no, I love the expanded playoffs. I do, and I hear what you're saying, though. I do hear what you're saying. Connie Mack and the A's were going on into the late 50s. Yeah, they get a lot more freaking. They were a lot more prosperous than the Phillies were. As the final, it is tonight at 10, and I am getting off here for our hour and a half. Freaking, hey, we got a new fan. Hour and a half post game. Bring the Phils fan in the 70s. Those were the years the season was just over in June. LOL. Being a Phils fan in the 70s, those were the years. Well, no, I mean, late 70s, it started getting better. That's when we hit that first great era of baseball. My first memory is walking to the game with my parents in a park in Packer Park, but game itself, first memory is Dellenser hitting the consecutive Phillies home runs. Oh, wow, you were there for that? Good for you, Steve. I wasn't there for many banner marquee moments, man. I didn't see. I didn't get to any of those games. But it was nothing like growing up on Phillies baseball at the Vet, going to a Sunday afternoon game at Veterans Stadium in the summertime when it was about 150 degrees off that turf and it was rising into the stands. Oh, ain't nothing like it, man. Ain't nothing like it. The 1986 absolutely could have taken out the 86 Mets. Von Hayes, Don Carmen killed it. I'm telling you, Steve. They finished like 20 games behind the Mets. The Mets were just on fire that year. But I'm telling you, in a wild card format, the Phillies could have made some noise in the playoffs in 86. I really believe they could have. But all right, listen, that's well beyond my time for this postgame. Phillies win 6-5, beat the Dodgers in the extra innings, and we are the NL East champions 2 straight years. Tonight, after Phillies Dodgers, make sure you're back here for the final word with Steve Fuentes. And then at 10 o'clock, make sure you're back here for the final word. Did I say final word with Steve Fuentes? The Fight's final with Steve Fuentes, as he's got the show tonight. And I got you for the final word at 10 at your regularly scheduled program. So make sure you're back here, tuning in, checking it out, and making sure that you're tuned in and checking it out. I was listening to the game in with my dad in his room when I was there. Oh, okay. Yeah, I miss, man. Baseball in the 80s was different. It was different, man. The game was different. Crawford has a concussion, by the way. Yeah. Well, I mean, they got a week left in their season. Tonight, they're like a half a game. They're like, what, 6.5 or 5.5 out with 6 to play. I was kind of playing out the string. So, the Justin Crawford news will have to wait to another day, obviously. But Justin Crawford will have his day next year. And I can't wait to talk about him all off season. We'll talk about him. Definitely be watching him intently in the spring, and then we'll get into the season with him. So better days are coming with Justin Crawford. But the Phillies win 6-5, clinched the NL East for a second straight year in a row. And now it's on to the playoffs. Number 1 seed, number 2 seed. What does Rob Thompson do? Does he rest them? Does he put the pedal to the metal? What will the Phillies do tonight? Chris Sanchez against Shohei Ohtani. Must-watch TV. I said this going into this damn thing. I wish they would have lost last night because this would have been the game that clinched, man. Beat Ohtani tonight. And so Sanchez versus Ohtani tonight at the at Chavez Ravine out there in Los Angeles. Lehigh having the record is making the playoffs is such. What's that? Lehigh Valley having this record and it making the playoffs is such forage. Garbage. No, I mean, listen, they had a great first half. Came within a half a game of winning their division or winning the International League. That Jacksonville beat them out by a half a game. They struggled a little bit coming into the second half, but they've had a decent second half. They've shown flashes, and don't forget the team was in flux most of the second half. Players going up, players getting down, players getting traded. So I mean, there was some uncertainty about them. I really thought, God, I don't know how they didn't make the playoffs, how they didn't win it in the first half. I honestly don't know how. And the Phils will be hung over. That's a possibility. Rafael Marchand probably starts tonight. I haven't seen the lineup. I'm sure it's out. But, yeah, you're right. There could be some hungover Phillies tonight. But make sure you're tuned in, and then make sure you're tuned in here. And we will talk to you tonight. I'll be seeing you at 10 o'clock for the final word, and then Steve Fuentes has got you for the Fighting Final. Until then, You know who I got to hear from? Harry the K. We are the NL East champions. What do you got?
He has high hopes. He has